Hello and welcome to Unacademy. I welcome you all to this interesting session. A happy Republic Day to all of you. Today we are going to discuss facts and a little bit of interesting part of this day itself. You can get these type of questions in the PCS level examination, in UPSC or in an interview setup. As a citizen of India, you should know these peculiarities about our Republic Day itself. And therefore, I'm going to use this opportunity to give you a little bit of information which you'll not find in standard books, for example, Lakshmikant. And therefore, this session is to enlighten you and give you facts and maybe a new set of, you can say, information for this day itself. So happy Republic Day to all of you. And on this occasion, Unacademy has also brought back its 60% plus CSE Assure offer. So under Resolve 2025 and on the day of this Republic Day, we bring back this offer under which you get 60% off plus CSE Assure. This will run till 29th of January. But what is more important is you will get 12 months at 23,499 and 18 months at 24,999. Under CSE Assure, if you meet certain criteria, you will get an extension automatically if you don't clear the examination. Remember to use the code IAS English, because when you use the code IAS English, you will be tagged to our team, which will be extremely important for your journey within Unacademy. Therefore, very important to use the code IAS English. Now, with this, let's talk about the first Republic Day and the concept of the Republic Day itself. Now, there's a very interesting peculiarity, if you say, with regards to this date itself. See, if you look at the preamble of the Constitution, if you look at the Constitution itself, it was adopted and signed on the 26th day of November 1949. Meaning, on 26th November 1949, they had already signed it, they had already what we call as adopted it. But why did they wait for 2 months for the Constitution to come into force? In the sense, why was 26th January so important when the dignitaries and the Constituent Assembly members had already adopted it, already signed it? Why did we wait for 2 months? This is where this question comes in. A very standard question which can come in any examination, basic general knowledge about India. Why 26th January is so important? 15th August we got independence, therefore Independence Day. But what is so special about 26th January? To understand this, you would need a little bit of knowledge of the modern Indian history or colonial history, and all of my students would already know this, that this has to do something with the Government of India Act 1919 and the story which starts from there. So when we talk about the Government of India Act 1919 itself, there was a certain clause other than the diarchy clause, a very complicated piece of legislation. There was a specific clause which said that after 10 years of its working, an Indian statutory commission is going to be sent in order to check if the Government of India Act 1919 is working properly or not. But because of the non-cooperation movement, thereafter Chauri Chaura and the Swarajis coming into the picture, with Swarajis now entering the councils to end or mend the councils, they started to disrupt the working of the Government of India under this act itself. And this will put the British under pressure, which in turn will lead to this commission, which should have come in 1929, to come in 1927 itself. And that commission is famously known as the Simon Commission. Now, the Simon Commission had only British MPs, no Indian member. Therefore, it will in a way be a shot in the arm to nationalism. There will be a wave of nationalism against the Simon Commission in 1927, because they said, how can you check the working of a constitution without asking Indians itself? And this is where the British will start to get irritated by the way the INC is going to criticize Simon Commission and say that Constituent Assembly and the concept of constitution making is not that difficult, or making a piece of legislation or a structure is also not difficult. This is where there will come a challenge that comes from the Secretary of State, Birkenhead, who will say that if it's so easy to write a constitution, why don't you write a certain piece of legislation which can give us a structure in India? And this is where the INC is going to respond by the 1928 Nehru Report. Under Nehru Report, the problem with this in our story is that Nehru Report had a lot of progressive, you can say, provisions, linguistic provinces, it criticized separate electorates, but it also said that India or INC wanted dominion status. Dominion status means that we will get independence only partially within the British structure itself, within the British Empire itself. We will be a dominion, a subsidiary of the British Crown, much like Australia, New Zealand or Canada. This is where Jawaharlal Nehru, Subhash Chandra Bose, the new rank and file of the INC, will say we don't accept it. However, at that given point of time, the INC and all other parties are going to unanimously accept it, other than certain exceptions. Now, based on the Nehru report, once in 1929, the Great Depression will hit, the British now needed Indian support. And in order to do that, Irwin now will give his very famous Irwin Declaration, or what is called the Deepavali Declaration, in 1929, wherein he will say that we want to keep our target as dominion status. British want to give India dominion status if and when it comes to that opportunity. For that, we want to have discussions and roundtable conferences in London, which is going to happen once Simon Commission is going to put its report to us, which is going to happen in 1930 itself. But the point was, in 1929, now Irwin has changed the target. Irwin now says we want to give you dominion because you asked for dominion. This is where Jawaharlal Nehru and Subhash Chandra Bose will say that when did we decide that? Just because Motilal Nehru report or the Nehru report, it said that okay, we want dominion, that was their conservatism, that was their moderate mentality. Why and when did we say that we want dominion? This is where Jawaharlal Nehru and Subhash Chandra Bose will go to Gandhi and say, when did we say that we want dominion? This is where he will give an ultimatum to Gandhi that I don't want dominion status, we don't want dominion status, we want complete independence. Gandhi will say to Jawaharlal Nehru and Subhash Chandra Bose that we will take a delegation to Irwin if they are ready to give us dominion status immediately, transfer power immediately. Let it be, we will decide our future later, but let's get this concession right now. This is going to manifest itself in the form of the Delhi Manifesto, under which the all-party committee is going to say that if you want to give us dominion, give us to us right now. And the roundtable conferences should be for constitution making and constitution writing. But Irwin is going to say, no, we only want to discuss the situation. We want to bring all stakeholders on board. This in turn will lead to the last major event in 1929, a very important one in December. 19 December 1929 will come the Pune Shah's resolution from the Lahore conference of the INC under the presidentship of Jawaharlal Nehru. Jawaharlal Nehru was very straightforward in saying that we don't want dominion, we want complete independence. The target of the INC is complete independence. Now, where does this whole story fit into our very simple, straightforward question, why 26 January? Under the Pune Shah's resolution, where it said that we want complete independence, we're going to boycott the roundtable conferences, there was a provision which said that on 26th of January 1930, we are going to celebrate our first Independence Day or Swaraj Day. Therefore, this date of 26 January is important because in 1929 it was decided that on 26 January 1930 we are going to celebrate our first Independence Day. So in order to keep this date intact, alive in our, you can say, political, cultural and historical memory, this day was therefore decided for the first Republic Day also. And therefore, from the Nehru report to the Delhi Manifesto to the Pune Shah's resolution, the Lahore conference is the reason why 26 January 1950 is going to be the date on which India is going to become a republic. This answers your first question. You can see a lot of history behind it, should help you in basic examinations. Now, this session changed India forever. Complete independence remained our target for a very long time. August of our Cripps mission was also rejected on the same concept. However, now comes a very simple, straightforward question, which is, where did the first Republic Day take place? We know that it is Delhi, but was it Rajpath, now called as Kartavyapath? The idea and the simple answer which you would give in an interview situation with the DAF and the OTR becoming so difficult itself. Now interview can get very basic questions as citizen of India. Where did it take place? Did it take place on Rajpath or somewhere else? And there's a very interesting answer to this, that the first Republic Day did not happen on, the parade did not happen on the Rajpath. It did not happen on Kartavyapath. It rather happened on what is called as Irwin's Amphitheatre, which is today known as Major Dhyan Chand Stadium. Basically, in the backdrop of the Purana Killa, 3,000 army personnel from different services came through, and in Irwin's Amphitheatre, today known as the National Stadium or Dhyan Chand Stadium, there was a what we call as First Republic Day parade with close to 100 different aircrafts coming through the Air Force, and 3,000 ground personnel parading. This was where Rajendra Prasad is going to become is going to take the oath as the first president of India. And on the other hand, also the parade did cross the Rajpath, but the parade itself did not happen on the Rajpath. All of the functions happened in Irwin's amphitheater. And therefore, you should know this concept that the old name of the Dhyan Chand Stadium is actually Irwin's amphitheater. And more than that, this was the place where the first Republic Day took place in 1950. So this is a very interesting peculiarity over which a very standard question which you should know. Maybe in the context of your preparation, you would in a way not remember this or have never given attention to. This is why we are here. The third interesting aspect which I want to ask you or I want to tell you is what is the Indonesian connection? As we know that the president of Indonesia is going to be the as we speak today is the chief guest of the 76th Republic Day. But this is a very ominous or a very interesting, you can say, chief guest because it brings in that nostalgia and again pushes us back to the first Republic Day because the first Republic Day also Sukarno was the what we call as the first chief guest of the first Republic Day of India on 26 January 1950. So Indonesia, therefore, 76 as a part, we have the same exact, you can say, nation as the chief guest in that regard. A very, very interesting concept that today we feel the moment in which, again, a very important member of the NAM, non-alignment movement, was here to become the first chief guest of independent India being a republic. Now, this brings to us a very interesting question. Did anybody from Pakistan take part in the first Republic Day? Very interesting point because we know that independence came with partition, independence came with a lot of horror, distress, and what we call as violence on both sides of India. In the same way, we know that the Muslim League had a very bad type of rhetoric in the end, which is called the extremist form of communalism, which was happening with riot after riot happening. Did we have any form of representation? Did anybody bother to come to the Indian, you can say, First Republic Day from Pakistan? And the answer to that question is a very interesting one. As much as we have Sukarno as the chief guest that day, we had a very interesting personality sitting along in the Irwin's amphitheater, named Malik Ghulam Muhammad. He was the Governor General of Pakistan and he's considered to be the first person to attend the Republic Day as the first Pakistani national to attend the first Republic Day of India itself. Remember his name because again a very interesting point. As much as there was a lot of, you can say, violence and a lot was happening in the background between 47 and 50, the idea is very simple. We still had somebody from Pakistan sitting in the crowd that day. The last question is again a very simple, straightforward question, and you will give a very simple, straightforward answer to it, but has a very complicated answer and was recently changed also. It is current affairs. See, on which day does the Republic Day celebration start? Officially, according to Government of India, on which day does the Republic Day celebration start? That is the very important question here. Which day? Now, you would say the 25th, you would say 26th, but there's a very interesting connection of Subhash Chandra Bose with the day we celebrate our or start our Republic Day celebration. See, previously it used to start on 24th of January. From 24th of January, we had officially Republic Day celebrations now being celebrated. However, in 2022, the Government of India aligned the birth anniversary of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose with the celebrations, and now 23rd of January is actually the day on which the Republic Day celebrations start. Now, in this way, I have given you 2 to 3 very important concepts to understand here. See, 26th January is an important date because of the Independence Day celebrations which happened on 26 January 1930. Though we had already signed an adopted the constitution on 26 November 1949. So we waited 2 months to keep this day alive. But 26 January celebrations don't start on 26 January, they start on 23rd of January, rightly linking it with one of the most important personalities in modern India, which is Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. On his birth anniversary, we start the Republic Day celebrations. Therefore, you have to note this, that the Parakram Divas, which is the birth anniversary of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, is the day on which we start. And this changed only recently. This used to be 24th, now has become 23rd, only in 2022. So I hope that this session has been useful. Use the code IAS English to join our course. And I hope that you're going to send this to your family members, to your relatives, so that they can also learn these interesting facts. But as a UPSC aspirant, as a person who's aspiring to get a job with the government, you should know these basic facts. And I hope that you will note these. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye. I'll see you in the next session. Take care.